that it puts on the frames is a little small. However,
oh, we started recording, have we?
To the support forums, and I have
this wasn't what I intended to do.
Admin, the developer of the Sharpcap software.
All right.
And I've asked him to consider.
I guess everything happens for a reason.
Customizable timestamp so that we can see it much more clearly.
Mr. Wolfoe here.
ED80.
Just taking a brief example, a brief glimpse at his videos. Well, I'm here using this cheap as Samsung Galaxy S7, which I pay off on a plan.
So the equatorial mount I'm using for...
So the equatorial mount he's using is worth $2.5 grand. That's only like $2 grand and a bit more than the laptop cost me that I'm viewing this on, which I only bought because I needed it to do some online training for my job back then. So this is the sort of thing we're up against somebody with unlimited funds just to buy an equatorial mount, of which he has multiple, mind you. What's the next thing he has here?
Most of these time-lapse videos is the Skywatcher AS EQ6 GT. It's a 230 mount, and it is a stable platform for the Coronado solar scope and also the Black Diamond ED80.
Black Diamond ED80, only $1,099. Anyway, I didn't come here to pick on him or to have a go at him for having unlimited funds. Good luck for him for being able to do this and to try and use all this unlimited technology to try and disprove flat earthers. I mean, it's good. We need serious competition because there obviously is none from people just doing it intellectually. So hopefully there'll be more and more like him who might come up with decent experiments. Now, I've challenged him many times in the past, and he has threatened to block me because I will admit there are times I use a bit of colourful language. I don't think that takes away from my argument so much. I try not to do it in a personal way by, seriously offending or attacking the person using colourful language, but I'll certainly laugh at their concepts and theories with colourful language. Let's just have a look at one more thing here while we're here.
Capture camera is the ZWO,
the coolest astronomy camera.
MC Pro, and the software
$1,599
is called Sharpcap, which I'll show you shortly.
Plus all the software. Doesn't have a price there.
It's great software.
Only £10
the only
a year.
drawback I think is that the timestamp that it puts on the frames.
Anyway, this one, I don't really want to go into this one too much because he showed time-lapse of the moon last night. I just want to listen to what he said about that again because to me this is all that really matters.
Area, the image plane illuminates times the exposure time, reaching a photographic film or electronic
maybe I'll
image
pause
sensor
and find it.
as determined by shutter speed, lens aperture, crescent shape.
Okay, I'll just go from here.
However, to see
He's
the
adjusting the
stars,
exposure levels of the moon so that he can capture the
significantly
stars,
overexpose the image,
which is all fine. I actually agree with him about why you don't see stars when the moon is also exposed. This is all good logical stuff.
Part of the image,
But listen to where he gets to with
showing
it.
the different exposure value again,
Okay,
and then I just let the time lapse run. And at this
time
point,
lapse run.
you
At
can
this
see
point.
how the stars are most definitely moving in relation to the moon.
Aha.
So
Aha.
that's the reason why you cannot see stars in normal photos of
Let's
the moon.
just stop
or
that there. He admits the stars are moving independently of the moon. Yet, what is the reason? We say the moon rises and sets. Same thing that causes the sun rising and setting. Earth's orbital, or I even got that wrong yesterday. It's not orbital rotation, it's axial rotation. Because the Earth is spinning on its axis, much different from its orbital rotation, which is a year's trip around the sun. Axial rotation, A-X-I-A-L, not A-C-T-U-A-L, axial rotation gives the appearance of sun and moon rising and setting. And the moon, being this slightly slower than the sun, to go around us is actually going backwards around us, according to this theory, of 27.3 days. Whereas over the flat Earth, as we see and observe it, it's 24 hours and 50 minutes to go around us once. But he's now declaring openly and honestly that the stars are moving independently of the moon. Now, how can that be when the motion of all of them is all due to Earth's rotation? Now, you might account a slight amount of parallax to account for why the moon appears different from the stars, but technically, no, it should all be moving as one, as all the stars do move as one, as we can see with time-lapse footage showing them moving in perfect circles, as I explained in yesterday's video. So here he's basically shooting himself in the foot by saying that the moon's rotation is independent to the stars, even though both are caused by the same phenomenon of our axial rotation. Okay, so I got a little bit cheeky there and I left him a little comment on this particular video, which I said, "You still blocking my comments, wolfoe1080? Wolfoe1080, I explained that in the other video too, but let me just tell you again, 1080 is one of the most deadliest, nastiest poisons, the worst way to get rid of feral vermin imaginable. And this is the sort of thing national parks and wildlife do here in Australia, because we're such lazy pricks, we don't know any better. We introduce all these feral animals and now we kill them indiscriminately with this disgusting poison, which also kills a lot of domestic animals and a lot of native animals. If you can imagine bleeding to death slowly from the inside as it takes days to die, this is how 1080 works. And this more or less sort of matches my approach for what I want to do to Mr. Wolfoe, you doggo, wild doggo, is I'm going to bleed you internally, because I don't think it's right that you should block somebody's comments. I mean, fair enough if I wrote a particularly nasty one, you might want to delete it. I've been known to do that once or twice, very, very rarely, only for those stupid, pathetic, really vulgar ones. I generally will argue with somebody and even thank them for pointing out what an idiot I am. So for him, when I'm trying to be genuine, friendly, jovial, and a bona fide member of the opposition that he keeps addressing his videos to. This one is called Flat Earthers. Are you seeing stars yet? All his videos now are addressed to flat earthers. Now, me being one of the, I would say, most outspoken yet intellectual Australian flat earthers that I know about, there's a few more of us about. We're not all complete and utter idiots. You know, some of us are actually not quite complete. Got to throw in a bit of humour. No, we're actually seriously intellectually interested in this debate, in reaching the truth. Now, he's defending vehemently his beliefs. Now, these are beliefs you get from being taught, from being indoctrinated, and you're looking for evidence to back up what you already believe, which is good, because this is what a genuine flat earther requires to validate our discoveries, new discoveries, not just beliefs based on other people's opinions. We've come to these opinions, well, I know I have, independently. I've been seeking this stuff out for over 30 years when I first discovered the potential we could be with inside a concave Earth. The only explanation I could come up with for gravity back in the day is centripetal forces pushing everything down and out, which is why rain does that, why water will still seek its level, as it does in a bucket as you spin it around. Something I've discussed many times before and aren't about to go into again here. But the thing is, we need adversaries. Wolfoe here is a good adversary, except he's a coward. And I don't like cowards, and I don't like thieves. Now, he's obviously not a thief because he's got multiple money, but what he is stealing is my intellectual property. When I leave a comment on his page, on his YouTube channel, I am spending my time, I'm putting effort into making a reasoned debate for reasoned discussion. So for him to go and block me Censorship, to me, is the most deceptive, cowardly form of theft on this big, fat, wide plane we live upon. And I won't stand for it. So I'm making this video to expose him. So excuse me while I pause again so I can find the videos I actually wish to address. Oh, and before I go, I will finish reading my comment. You're still blocking my comments, wolfoe1080. You're on my list of people I intend to expose as complete and utter idiots. In fact, I've started making my own first video right as I'm typing. See, even while I paused, I made this comment. You fully just exposed your complete and utter lack of understanding of what makes the sun, moon and stars appear to go around us, which is our axial rotation. You just proved the flat earth concept that the stars are moving completely independently of the only motion we can attribute to moonrise and sunrise. So thank you once again for being on the flat earth side. I hope your extensive armoury of flat earth detection equipment continues to support us in our quest for the truth. Cheers. Alright, so it looks as though I'm just going to have to work through the list. Now listen to this. This is how he starts.
One of the most frequent comments I see by flat earthers is, "Show me the curve."
Damn straight it is. But he says this all the time. One of the most frequent comments I hear from flat earthers, before I block them.
I read that almost every day on my own channel.
So you should.
Now, we have shown balloon footage with curve, but clearly
Okay.
flat earthers are not going to believe it until they see it with their own eyes.
So the comment I made here, this is one where he's shown, I'm not going to go into too much detail, he's showing edge of space flight in the MiG-29 Fulcrum, where I think you need some sort of $30,000. It's probably 33 being a Freemasonic thing. No, I think it's only 32. Yeah, only a 32 second degree Mason to go on this one. We can go up high enough to see the curvature. Now on this particular one, this one is called, under Wolfie6020, his channel, published on the July 5th, 2018. Show me the curve, flat earthers. You have no more excuses. So, my comment on this one, not a single response, not a single up like or down like. That's how I know he has blocked me, because every single other time I comment on his channel, I will immediately have 6 to 12 of his strongest followers downvote my comment straight away. And I will have a shitload of them comment beneath my comment and then call me the troll because I'm trolling him. Now, am I addressing my videos to Mr. wolfoe1080 all the time? No, I am not. He is addressing these videos to people like me and inviting comment. And so when I do go and look at them, I'd appreciate the opportunity to be able to comment, to be able to defend my comments, and to be argued by somebody who thinks they might have a reasoned argument against me. But here I say, seriously, I stopped it at 1:27. Look at that. Case closed. You're a fucking moron. Now, I did say that to him simply because I'm trying to get a reaction to see if or not I seriously have been blocked. So this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt I have. I don't like moving the camera around like this because no, I'm not going to. It doesn't show well anyway, and it defeats the purpose. And you might see some tabs open that I'd rather you didn't. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Let's see if we can just take this to 127. There, if I do full screen.
You should easily be able to generate the funds to go on this flight.
Just watch some of
Let's
these.
listen to what race car driver Josh Car 2 says during the flight.
Whoop, 127. Look here as it starts to level out.
So I'm going to link
Anywhere it starts to level out,
this website.
it cuts out.
This video.
Where it shows
And as I said,
concavity,
stop asking to see the curve because this
stop asking to see the curve. What a fucking moron. He shows a picture of fisheye lens, and in some of the other comments, I read through some of them, he'll even defend that and say, but you can still go up and see it for yourself. Why the fuck would you be doing that when you're using this as proof that it's visible? When you didn't even show it, you faked it. You faked it, and you're telling us to go and spend 30 odd grand on your buddies, fellow pilots, to take one of these flights, which we probably wouldn't be able to do anyway for whatever reason, even if we had the money. But that's no excuse. Fuck you, wolfoe. You're a dog. You're an absolute dog. You bring false evidence to the bloody table, and then you block a man from being even able to respond and point out exactly where you showed lies. You lying, thieving, cowardly fucking doggo. Okay, so his next video here I found, this one was published on July 4. He's got plenty of time to publish these. This is when he's shown himself to be up in a plane, very high, at 45,000 plus feet, and he's using a theodolite on his camera, no less, his phone camera. It's an app on his phone to show level. Now you can look this video up again for yourself. This one is called So Flat Earthers. So he's addressing it to flat earthers. You want to explain that horizon rising to eye level to me again. Well, for one thing, I'm just going to read out my comments first, because I think it's going to say what I was about to say anyway. My first comment was, which I wrote 5 days ago, anybody else noticed how rapidly the altitude is jumping around? So this is the second comment actually. Well, it's still at the top. Not a single like or dislike or response. Again, completely unheard of from anything where I previously written on his channel. The altitude's jumping around. How do you propose to measure a true level if in 15 seconds, that's how long this video lasts, 15 seconds, the altitude meter says you're at 45,047 feet. It jumps to 45,068 feet, 45,182, 45,174, to 45,230, all in under 13 seconds. You've jumped around 200 feet and still trust your instrumentation to be showing a couple of degrees of difference in height of eye level. Just thought I'd point that out. Earth is still flat and stationary. It's not really moving faster than the speed of sound beneath you. Chasing a sun, going 300 times speeding bullet speed. You globies will believe anything you're told, no matter how ridiculous it must be in reality. And so my first comment which I left, which was my more serious one, sorry wolfoe old boy, that's seriously the dumbest thing ever. Think about it, mate. Eye level, not theodolite level. Eye level is simply wherever your eyes gravitate towards. Yes, I'll even use that word for its common meaning, not because it's an actual force. See, I can use the word gravitate without necessarily believing in gravity. When you lean your head back, eye level becomes straight up. When you look at your feet, it's straight down. It's still called eye level. It just happens that because we are upright walking creatures on a mostly flat terrain, the most natural place of rest of our eyes is the horizon, where sudden danger or opportunity usually presents itself first. You globeheads are really grasping when you have to twist every little natural observation with the new kind of political correctness. Absolute scientific pedantry. The horizon is obviously still flat. See, this is what gets me. Yes, we use the observation that no matter how high we go, the horizon rises to eye level because that's what our eyes gravitate towards. Which is why when we're at ground, standing at the ocean, the horizon... Oh God, keep getting bloody comments here, shut off. This is why we keep, when we're standing at ocean level and we're seeing the horizon at eye level, we know for a fact it is beneath our feet level. And technically, if we used a measuring device to calculate the amount of our 6 foot towards where the horizon would be, by the time it reaches the diminishing, vanishing point, it's going to be so minuscule. Yeah, it would be below true level, but eye level is where your eyes gravitate towards no matter what. So when you're using a frickin' theodolite at 45,000 feet, it means nothing. It means nothing to show a difference between what that horizon level would be if it was at ground level, because you're at 45,000 feet. So that 3 to 4 degrees difference is exactly what you should expect to see when you take into account all that size diminution as it gets further and further away, and it proves nothing about curvature of the globe. Curvature, which by the way was back engineered because of the very fact that there is this 3 or 4 degree discrepancy if calculated using instrumentation. Our eyes are, generally speaking, the only instrumentation we need to observe and create eye level. Now, you also see this one where people get this water level and they put it up on top of a mountain and they align that with the camera. So you've got 2 tubes on a piece of joined hose. So you've got this one level here in front of you, then the next level here in front of you, and then they show a mountain many miles away, many hundreds of feet in many cases below the level of the mountain they're on in the first place. And they're saying, see how these levels line up, and yet the entire horizon and this distant mountain is below that. It's like, come on, you guys have not thought this through at all. Those levels, if they were showing water level, not eye level, water level. You're trying to show water level, which is ordinarily, by definition, below your feet level to begin with. When you're up the top of a mountain some 20,000 feet high, or whatever it may be, water level is going to be far lower than that, unless you've got one of these elevated lake situations, because the mountain happens to have one of these elevated lake situations, which is quite rare, but can and do happen. So to artificially introduce a water level to your eye level there and expect it to match horizon level, honestly, you haven't thought that experiment out either. Nothing to do with Mr. Wolfoe here, by the way. I just thought I'd mention that one because it's the same freaking concept, except he's at 45,000 feet and still can't understand the difference. I'm going on to his next video now. Bear with me. Okay, so I found the next one where I've left a comment for him. Let's go back to the beginning.
I'm in the aircraft again doing some database updates, but I thought I'd show you the flight from Sydney to Santiago. This aircraft is just capable of doing that trip, and as you can see...
Okay, so this one you can also look up yourself. This one was published on July 1st, 2018. Sydney to Santiago direct. And the only reason I bring this one up is once again because I've had a comment which nobody can see, because this one was done a week ago, and my comment to this one is, for those who care to check, anybody else notice how the computer generated graphic images went from a steep downward curve heading below New Zealand to the southeast, suddenly looking like a weird turnabout to show the actual route slightly northeast, which better reflects the actual flat plane route. Even these pilots need everything dumbed down for them. Do any other airlines offer the same route, or is it just the specifically adopted Qantas Air bus capable of sometimes taking off as advertised? They're more often than not cancelled at the last minute. So okay, I'm not a big expert on the flight side of things. I'm not I'll be the first to admit that, and I'm not claiming any particular expertise. I have, however, offered other explanations for what might actually be going on with this particular Qantas plane, which for some reason, even though it's just another routine everyday flight between 2 destinations, was introduced by a certain Mr. John Travolta. Now, I'm a bit of a John Travolta fan, don't get me wrong. I grew up with Welcome Back, Kotter. We used to watch that on the old Television quite a lot. And we had Grease I didn't get into the movies much as a kid, I must admit. But anyway, John Travolta is a recognisable face, a famous person, and he also happens to be a pilot in his own right, and some might even say looks rather dashing in his pilot's uniform. So they used this world famous actor, which most of us are quite familiar with, to introduce just a normal, regular, routine flight. Now, I don't know about you, but I go out regularly looking at the stars, and I've seen some things which you just cannot explain with normal understanding of the things that we are told are going on. I see a lot of normal aeroplanes. I see a lot of things you might describe as satellites. However, the flight route for nearly every plane is from south going to north, and the majority of them go that way. Maybe a small percentage go from north to south. Very few planes, especially of an evening, here on the east coast of Australia, where everything is heading towards the northern centre basically, will go east-west. There's no point. If you're going east, you're just going straight out over Cape Byron, and you'll keep on going towards, nowhere basically. Maybe if you're headed slightly north, you might veer off towards Tahiti. If you're going to go to New Zealand, you'll generally take off from down Sydney or Melbourne, much further south to begin with, and go a virtually east-southeast direction. So we don't see planes going that direction. However, because the Earth is considered to be rotating towards the east, which is why the sun comes up there and the moon comes up there and they set in the west, you would think that the vast majority of things you call satellites would also be going roughly in that direction to do with actual rotation, something which we've already proven the stars don't follow. Wolfie himself just showed it with his most recent video, where he took some time lapse just last night of the rising moon to try and show why we don't see stars when we see the moon. Light spectrums and so forth, and the adjustments of cameras are the reasons we don't see stars with bright lights around. That's why we don't see stars in the daytime. However, why don't they follow the same path if it's all because of our axial rotation, spinning with a axle going through the north and south poles, so that if you're at the easternmost point, you're basically on the front of Australia as far as its trajectory is concerned. Our north and south points are kind of like an eagle spreading out its wings. Cape Byron would be like the beak, and we're flying that way towards everything. So when we're looking at our celestials, we should be seeing most of them more or less following that particular path. Yet I can watch so-called satellites, especially when I put on my latest prescription glasses, that I can't use them for everyday use. They are too strong. But when I go outside and look at the stars, holy crap, they are super, super clear. And I can see some of the most amazing things. I can still see them with these, mind you. The point being, very, very few, if any, ever follow the assumed axial rotational direction you would expect to see. The majority of them are going a similar north-south. Some of them are going north-east. Some of them are going all sorts of directions. And these are things, tiny, tiny little dots, as far away, to the best of my observable knowledge, as the stars themselves. Quite often much fainter than the stars, because you can't see them unless you really stop, pay attention and focus, and then you start seeing them everywhere. These are not just one-offs. So there is technology going on above us up there, which must far surpass satellites. Now, I was always into the conspiracies and various things growing up too, so I've looked into most of the UFO stuff, alien stuff. I read majority of the book about the Roswell incident before a friend borrowed it. I never saw it again. And it was a really good one by this Corsico fellow, I think his name was, where he gave a lot of detailed information, and that's where we know a lot of our technology today came from, was this recovered craft, whatever it may be, that crashed in New Mexico. And ever since then, they've been slowly releasing the technology a bit at a time. Apple computers were one of the ones selected to introduce this technology to us. So to me, yes, it's all back-engineered stuff. Now, if we've been able to back-engineer all this stuff from the basic LED light that we first had back in the 50s, 60s, right up to the supercomputers and stuff we've got today, I imagine we've also back-engineered a lot of the technology that makes these craft, and that perhaps they've been an everyday thing for a lot of these elite folk of the world today. I don't know when this is going to cut out, it's usually within the next 30 seconds. I'll keep going and see what happens. So, this technology could well exist, which would be simple to put something of that nature into what looks like an ordinary commercial aircraft, which for all other intents and purposes looks, acts and operates like a normal commercial aircraft. And yet once it's up at a certain height, going over a place with no distinct land marks, ocean marks or anything, it could easily be flying at speeds 2, 3, 4 times the speed a normal plane might go, and being an enclosed capsule, you would never know. There's no way you could possibly know that a flight was specifically designed because there's been enough uprising of people questioning these things since back then that they introduced it before it became too mainstream and said, well, look, here you go, this one only takes 11, 12 hours to go this much. It would take 18, 19 hours on the flat earth map, therefore the flat earth is ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to stop this and start again because I think it's going to anyway. Talk soon.